for his signature. And a federal judge stopped deportation flights after the Trump administration invoked an 18th century law. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg issued a stop order on migrant flight deportations on Saturday. This comes after President Donald Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, usually used during war, allowing the president more control on policy and granting them executive action to speed up deportations. The order was issued after President Trump attempted to deport 5 Venezuelans, alleging that those men were part of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. They were invading the U.S. Now, Boasberg says flights had to be stopped and turned around back here to the U.S. The American Civil Liberties Union argued that Trump cannot invoke the act against a criminal gang. The deportations are now halted for 14 days until another hearing is held next Friday. And staying in Washington, the latest government entities targeted for cuts by the president and Elon Musk's Doge include those supporting museums and people experiencing homelessness. The president signed an executive order on Friday demanding 7 government bodies reduce staffing. Among them are the Institute of Museum and Library Services, Interagency Council on Homelessness, and the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service. The Agency for Global Media is also included. They run Voice of America and other government-funded media operations. And a federal appeals court is allowing the Trump administration to implement executive orders cracking down on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs as the appeals process plays out. The circuit court ordered is a major win for the president. 2 of 3 judges wrote concurring opinions, though, raising concerns about the anti-DEI directives. Ultimately, though, they decided the administration had met the bar for putting the trial judge's ruling on hold. The directives in question instructed executive branch agencies to take steps targeting DEI programs, including those operated by government contractors. And the U.S. stock market has lost $5 million in just the last 3 weeks. That's left the White House telling people to stay calm as tumbling stocks have made Americans pretty worried about their retirement. The Scripps News Group's Keelan Howell has an economic recap and outlook.
President Trump has said there will be a bit of an adjustment period for the U.S. economy in the wake of an escalating trade war that spooked investors this week. Monday was the worst day on Wall Street since President Trump's inauguration, the Dow Jones plummeting after the president refused to rule out a recession in an interview over the weekend.
Are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big.
The following day, the Dow dropped almost 900 points. On Tuesday, President Trump sought to downplay recession fears.
Do you think there will be a recession?
I don't see it at all.
Also spooking investors, a burgeoning trade war. On Wednesday, sweeping new tariffs on steel and aluminum imports went into effect, prompting retaliatory tariffs from the EU and Canada on U.S. exports, including whiskey and motorbikes. Trump escalated the trade tit-for-tat further Thursday, threatening 200% tariffs on European wine and spirits. And experts predict the compounding tariffs will lead to higher prices for American consumers.
It's not just the imported items that are susceptible to price increases. Domestic producers, if they're facing less price competition from foreign competitors, they're likely to boost their prices too.
Stocks continue to spiral downward over the week, with the Dow down almost 4% at the opening bell on Friday, stoking fears over the impact to Americans' retirement accounts. Still, President Trump doubled down on his tariff policies Thursday.
We've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore. No, I'm not going to bend at all.
A new Ipsos Reuters poll out this week found 70% of Americans, including a majority of Republicans, think President Trump's trade policies will push prices higher. Keelan Howell, Scripps News Group, the White House.
7:10 right now and still ahead. Time is running out to file your taxes. So coming up, we've got some tips for you on getting them in on time and possibly maximizing your return. And deadly storms have impacted much of the U.S. to our south, leaving a real path of destruction that has killed dozens of people so far. So coming up next, we'll take a look at where they're going and how officials are responding. But first, let's get to some birthdays. Levi turning 9 today. Happy birthday, Levi, and a happy 8th birthday to Kennedy on this Sunday. Happy birthday, Ken. Hope it's a great one. Madison, you're turning 9 today. Happy birthday, Madison. And Penelope, happy 2nd birthday on this Sunday. Archer turning 3. Happy birthday, buddy. Hope it's a great day. And Emily turning 4 today. Happy birthday, Emily. Hope you're having a great one. Colin, happy 18th birthday. Celebrate responsibly, pal. And Levi, happy 9th birthday. Thanks for waking up and celebrating with us one more time there, Levi. If you'd like to celebrate your child's birthday, you can do that right here on these very airwaves. Send in a name, an age, and a photo to mornings@fox17online.com.
You're watching Fox 17, part of the Scripps News Group.
And welcome back, everybody. Violent tornadoes and high winds destroyed homes, schools, and toppled trees as a monster storm that killed at least 32 people ripped its way across the central and southern U.S. on Saturday. In Missouri, scattered tornadoes killed at least a dozen people, and in Mississippi, the governor announced 6 deaths and 3 people missing. A statewide emergency has been declared in both Georgia and Arkansas, where 3 people were confirmed dead after powerful gusts of winds sparked outages for over 220,000 people all across Texas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and even here in Michigan. While a little farther up north, the National Weather Service issued a blizzard warning for parts of Minnesota and South Dakota. Overall, the extreme weather conditions were forecast to impact an area home to over 100 million people, and experts say this isn't unusual to see extreme weather in March, but its intensity and size of this latest storm is a concern. And we even saw the effects of it here in Michigan, not to anywhere close to the severity of down south, but it did reach up here a little bit, it looked like. Terry.
That's right. Yeah, we did have some widespread winds gusting in excess of 45 to 50 miles per hour, but you can see the storm reports. These are all the reports of verified severe weather extending from the Great Lakes region all the way down to the Gulf Coast, including a couple of dozen tornadoes, supercell tornadoes. Again, almost 3 dozen people already confirmed dead from this outbreak of violent weather, and dozens more, if not thousands more, with some sort of injury. And also millions are cleaning up. And you can see that storm shifting to the east. So this threat for severe weather from eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania all the way down into central and northern Florida. Great Lakes region looking like we're in the quiet today. We do have rain out there, so pavement is wet on area roadways this morning. We did have the worst air quality in the country yesterday. Our strong winds, a conveyor belt for transporting not just the warm air in, but also a lot of dust and dirt from places like Oklahoma and Texas. That's why we had that brown color to the sky just hanging on all day yesterday in West Michigan. Now today, with the shifting winds and with the rain, the atmosphere is really starting to clean itself out, so we will see improving air quality today. Rain changing to snow as those temperatures drop through the 30s, and we've got another messy system coming our way later in the week. 35 degrees currently in Hart. It's 45 in Lansing, 48 still in Jackson. That colder air continuing to work in from northwest to southeast. Temperatures this morning, a good 15 to almost 25 degrees colder than we were at this point yesterday. And by the way, yesterday we made it back into the upper 60s to low 70s for daytime highs. Now here is a look at the satellite radar composite. Widespread precipitation where you see the yellows and the oranges on the radars. Those are really heavy downpours coming in. And remember, we came into the weekend facing a moderate to severe drought across most of central and southern lower Michigan. So really good news to pick up this precipitation today. Backside of this system, a little taste of winter out there as we tap into that colder air. We'll get a quick shot of some light snow moving through. And that's going to clear out very quickly. Could even see enough clearing along the lakeshore to see a pretty sunset this evening. Skies remain clear to partly cloudy tonight. Tomorrow morning, sunshine gives way to increasing clouds for our St. Patrick's Day, but we will stay dry, and then more of a west to east flow developing in the atmosphere for Tuesday and Wednesday, and that'll boost those high temps back up to around or a touch above 60 degrees. The snowfall futurecast, northern lower Michigan under a winter weather advisory. We could see some slushy accumulation on the grassy surfaces here across West Michigan as well. And again, the big story here, that widespread rain coming through, many areas picking up at least a quarter to almost a half inch of rainfall over the weekend. So really good news there. Tomorrow, we start out with readings in the 20s. We top that in the upper 40s for our St. Patrick's Day, 62 on Tuesday. Wednesday will feature increasing clouds with a chance of a few late day rain showers. Thursday, we officially welcome in the season of spring with the vernal equinox, and we'll see tumbling temperatures and a taste of winter for Thursday, ironically enough. Back to partly cloudy skies Friday, a few rain showers on Saturday, and the pattern flips here. The 8 to 14 day outlook showing that warmer air begins to build across the southwestern United States, and we're going to be closer to average in the Great Lakes region and across much of the eastern United States.
Thanks a lot for that, Terry, especially the warm weather part. Now, while you're still looking at about a month until the tax deadline, that clock is ticking down. Don't kid yourself. So to help avoid adding even more stress to your life, accounting experts are sharing some tips and reminders that could help taxpayers complete their forms and maximize their returns. Fox News correspondent Shanley Painter takes a closer look.
If you haven't already filed your taxes, odds are good you're not alone. Previous data from the Internal Revenue Service reveals about 1/3 of taxpayers submit their forms in the 3 weeks leading up to the April 15th deadline. It has some people wondering,
why can't the government simply just prepare taxes for us?
But according to Brad Hepfer, accounting associate professor at Texas A&M University,
there are lots of opportunities that are unique to different individuals to save money.
If eligible, some of these deductions can include
the child tax credit. So this is a $2,000 per child credit if you're the parent of a dependent college student. The American Opportunity Tax Credit of $2,500 per student.
Even for seasoned filers, the process can be demanding. Making a checklist of all the paperwork you may need is a good place to start.
These are things like the W-2s you receive from your employers. It might also include 1099s, property tax statements, mortgage statements.
Meanwhile, accounting experts are also flagging this one update some people may encounter.
If you're someone who is running a small business or has a side hustle and you receive payments through a payment processor like Venmo or PayPal, this year those payment processors have to issue a 1099-K to you if you receive more than $5,000 of third-party payments.
The IRS has free tools and resources available at irs.gov. I'm Shanley Painter, Fox News.
All right, the time is now 7:20 and still ahead, a discovery 132 years in the making. Coming up after the break, we'll see how technology helped find a shipwreck in Lake Superior and how the family of its only survivor is reacting. Hey, welcome back, everybody. In the summer of last year, wreckage from the ship, the Western Reserve, was found 132 years after it sank. And the family of the wreck's only survivors say the discovery is bringing plenty of emotions and answers. Demetrius Sanders with Scripps News Group Detroit talked to them.
I was in hopes that someone would locate the wreck.
For Frank Baxter of Algonac, being around water has long been important to his family.
Boating is a part of our blood.
That includes his grandfather, Harry W. Stewart, a whalesman who was the only person to survive the wreck of the Western Reserve, a ship that sank in Lake Superior in 1892. The shipwreck killed 27 others.
Hard for me to imagine this young man, what he went through relative to the shipwreck, and then go back to sailing the rest of his life and becoming a captain.
For years, Baxter was among those hoping the wreckage would one day be found.
I have thought for the last few years that it's very likely at some point in time with the new technology.
And now that's happened.
Very grateful.
The Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society says the sunken ship was first found in Lake Superior using marine sonic technology side-scan sonar.
All of the different newspaper articles that told the story of the shipwreck.
Annie Dennis says in recent years, she and her grandfather have bonded, uncovering their family's history.
I had a childhood interest in the Western Reserve. It's something that, our family's been really curious about the story and about what happened to the ship after all this time.
After seeing video of the ship underwater, Dennis says the tragedy of the wreck isn't lost on her family, but they are thankful for Harry Stewart.
When we see those images, we see what happened to the ship, how far that was from the shore, how bad that storm must have been. It's just, I think, makes us all that much more grateful that he had that strength, that will to live, because it allowed our family to be here today.
That was Demetria Sanders with Scripps News Group Detroit reporting. And stick around, everybody. We're looking at 7:26 right now, and still ahead this morning after an influx in plane crashes in just the past few months. A lot of passengers are worried about their own flights as they hit the skies. We'll take a look at just how safe it is to fly right now. All right, now on Fox 17 Weekend Mornings, the FAA and Department of Transportation are working to make plane travel safer here in the U.S. We'll see how they hope monitoring Boeing will help accomplish that.
After a blustery day yesterday, we've got wet weather coming through the area today and tracking colder air rolling in this afternoon, changing the rain to snow. A topsy-turvy work week of weather is ahead.
And rising egg prices are continuing to be a real concern for many Americans right now. So we'll see what businesses here in West Michigan are doing about the price hike.
You're watching Fox 17 Morning News.
Good Sunday morning, everybody. Check this out. This is the air over downtown Grand Rapids yesterday. Yes, Grand Rapids is down there somewhere. It was looking pretty dusty and really uninviting. That's because Saturday was one of the worst days for air quality in the city's entire history. Today, though, Terry, looks like it should be a lot better for us because, well, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, the rain washing out the atmosphere, so improving conditions out there. But yesterday afternoon, it was interesting. You worked in Montana. I grew up in Montana, and we all saw the wildfire smoke a couple of years ago.
Yep.
That's what happens in the atmosphere. You get all of these particles that got caught up with the right steering winds in the atmosphere, and you just get this widespread pollution, really. And that's exactly what we experienced yesterday.
Well, that's what we thought. My wife and I were driving around yesterday, and we were wondering if there was maybe a grassland fire or something like that, because it looked a lot like summers in Montana when those wildfires really start to spark and take over spots.
Exactly, yeah. So yesterday we had for several hours during the afternoon, the worst air quality in the entire country. The worst air quality in the entire country was right here in Grand Rapids. We fell into the very unhealthy category. Folks with asthma, breathing difficulties really had some challenging hours yesterday during the afternoon hours. The good news is today, with the shift in the winds and the rainfall coming through, the atmosphere is really in the process of cleaning itself out. And the other good news, really, with this widespread rain coming through the area today, we entered the weekend with several counties under a moderate to severe drought. And you can see here on our live Doppler radar where you see the yellows and the oranges on the radar. That's some really heavy precipitation coming together. So we do have widespread rain across the area today. We did have several reports of severe weather, winds across West Michigan, an outbreak of deadly tornadoes across the southeast. So once again, yesterday, a very active day of weather across the country. Today, waking up to some wet weather out there. Temperatures are falling, so the rain mixing over to snow, as those temperatures now are a good 10 to 20 degrees colder than they were just 24 hours ago. We'll look at the rest of that topsy-turvy 7-day forecast in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Terry. And the Michigan State Police are investigating a crash in Branch County that left one woman dead. Fox 17 got word of this incident just before 2:45 this morning. Michigan State Police say it happened on the intersection of Athens and Dunks Road in Sherwood Township when a Chevy Silverado ran through the intersection, left the roadway, and